This song,
There was a boy, a very
it tells the tale of an enchanted wanderer
enchanted boy.
who came to deliver just one
He
message,
wandered very far,
that our highest goal
very
was to love and be loved.
over land and sea.
But the story that's been mostly lost to history is the almost mythical tale of the songwriter himself, ahbez, for whom the song was deeply autobiographical. And given the unlikely way in which the song found its way to one of the world's greatest singers, one might be convinced that the song carries a mystical property all its own. I'm Dara Star Tucker, and this is The Breakdown. Ahbez was born George Aberley in a large family to a Jewish father and a Scots-English mother in 1908 in Brooklyn. His parents were so financially destitute that they eventually had to give him and many of his siblings up for adoption. He ended up with the McGrew family in Chanute, Kansas, and was known after that as George McGrew. In the early 1940s, he made his way to Los Angeles and ended up working and playing piano at a health food store called Eutrophion that was run by a couple of Germanic descent that followed the tenets of a back-to-nature movement from Germany called Wandervogel. They were part of a group of naturalists that believed in eating vegan and casting off the constraints of modern life for a simpler, earthier existence. They started attracting followers to their movement, a group of young men who began calling themselves the California Nature Boys. They studied lots of Eastern mysticism and strove for oneness with nature. George McGrew had found his people, and it was at this time that he changed his name to ahbez, Abe for short. He said only the creator's name deserved to be capitalized. Abe and the California Nature Boys made their homes in caves and canyons and in the Hollywood Hills, sleeping outdoors, sometimes under the Hollywoodland sign, foraging for food, making music and engaging in spiritual and intellectual conversations. They were really the first hippies. As Eden began exploring spirituality through nature, he started to write songs that expressed his commitment to understanding that relationship. In 1947, one of his compositions would take on a life of its own and would soon thrust Abe into the national spotlight. The melody and lyrics to Nature Boy were carefully crafted over several weeks. The haunting melody may evoke a certain timelessness because it really didn't start with Abe. It's partly drawn from a melody written by a man named Herman Jablokow, who was a star of the Yiddish theater. He had written a song called Schweig mein Herz, or Hush My Heart, in 1935.
Schweig mein Herz, rutsch das Leben ist mir finster schwarz.
Abe ended up settling out of court when Jablokow sued him in the early 1950s for copyright infringement. But the truth is, even Jablokow's melody wasn't entirely original. It bore a striking similarity to Antonin Dvorak's Piano Quintet No. 2 in A. But the original melodic elements that Abe added to those songs, along with the mystical lyric that he penned, would soon entrance the nation thanks to his belief in the song's ability to reach its intended target. And that target was none other than Nat King Cole. Abe had been performing the song at the health food store Eutrophion when a fellow health enthusiast and musician, Cowboy Jack Patton, heard it and convinced Abe that Nat King Cole would be the perfect person to give it the proper interpretation. So, without any real connections to Nat King Cole, Abe decided to get on his bike and make his way down to the Lincoln Theater in LA where Nat King Cole was performing to try to get the sheet music to him. He waited backstage where he finally saw Nat's tour manager, Mort Ruby, and he tried to convince him to get it to Nat, but the guy wouldn't budge. So he found Nat's valet, Otis Pollard, and asked him to get it to Nat, and Otis said he would. Abe then rode away on his bike, leaving no name, no contact information, and no way for Nat's people to get in touch with him. He initially didn't even want credit for writing the song, he just wanted to get it into Nat's hands so that he could share it with the world. Otis Pollard made good on his promise, and he got it to Nat, who initially didn't really pay it much attention. But he finally decided to try it out at a show, and he became entranced with it.
There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy.
He started performing it live every night, and he couldn't wait to record it. The only problem was he had no idea who to credit with composing the song. While Nat made arrangements to record the song, he sent his tour manager, Mort Ruby, on a hunt to find the composer of the song. Using only Abe's physical description, he embarked on a long journey to find a needle in a haystack. Because of Abe's unique physical appearance, he and the other California Nature Boys did stand out, so Mort Ruby was finally able to locate Abe at the nature store to get permission for Nat to record the song. Nature Boy, which was actually recorded during a musicians' union strike in 1947, was released in March of 1948 and stayed on the top of the Billboard charts for 15 weeks, eventually reaching number 1, selling over 1 million copies. It was quite unusual at that time for black performers to achieve mainstream success. But this recording represented the beginning of Nat King Cole's transition from a jazz trio performer to a lush balladeer who would come to be known for his extravagant orchestrations and sophisticated productions. Ahbez shared part of the royalties that he had earned from writing the song with a woman named Lorraine Tatum, who he credited with helping him with the song's lyrics. And he also gave a share of his earnings to Otis Pollard, Nat King Cole's valet, who helped him get the song to Nat. Despite the song's success, Ahbez continued to live his bohemian outdoor life with his wife and his young child. Ahbez and Nature Boy are seen as being instrumental in ushering in the beatnik and hippie movements. The song has endured through the ages because of its universal message of love that resonates through the generations. Modern audiences still grapple with the song's simple yet profound declaration, delivered by the real-life Nature Boy, that our greatest aspiration in this life is to love and to be loved in return. You can hear my special holiday rendition of Nature Boy now at all digital music outlets.
And while he spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said.